They've got the dazzling skills to tear any team apart. Some of the biggest names in world football have given the club some real glamour. Now at last it's Middlesbrough's turn to be heading for the big time. The fans can see the glory now. They're ready to dance down Boro's Wembley way. More than 32,000 Teessiders are ready to descend on those famous Twin Towers. Now the Boro really are on their way to Wembley. The team left for London this evening to start the last preparations before Sunday. The countdown has definitely begun for the Coca-Cola Cup final, Middlesbrough against Leicester City. Good evening. If you're a Middlesbrough fan, then Sunday is the day you've dreamed about all your life. The Boro step out at Wembley for the first time in their history. These two gents will tell you that the club have twice come close before. David Mills was in the Boro team that lost in the semi-final in 1976. Bernie Slavens suffered with the Teessiders that went so close to the final in '92. But we're all on Boro's Wembley way tonight. We're following a great cup story for the next half hour. And there could be trouble brewing. We're at home with Higgy for the real truth about those boys in red.
Mr. Sensible, Mr. Bland. Sorry now for saying that.
Well, we'll find out who. Now, if it's every English footballer's dream to play at Wembley, then it seems worth leaving home for if you come from overseas. The very thought of those Twin Towers has got the Boro's foreign contingent flying. But right from the first cup tie, one man has stamped this competition with his personal trademark.
Juninho comes away with it as well. Ravanelli is the only one really alongside him. Juninho still going. Ravanelli's got check. He just steers it in.
The Ravanelli trademark. A sight in the Coca-Cola Cup, but that was the way it started. Boro's first against lowly Hereford. 3 more goals followed from the Italian that night. Rav was already halfway to being the competition's leading scorer. He's already had one taste of Wembley this season, that infamous 1-0 win for his country against England.
It's beautiful to play at Wembley, and he hopes that the result, 1-0, and he hopes that for all the club, the team, and the fans. But if he knows that if Middlesbrough play well in the result will be good.
Emerson tries one. Oh, fabulous goal!
Rav covers his head while Emerson loves to dance. This cup run is no mere Italian job. Much of Boro's designer football carried the label Made in Brazil.
Juninho again. Beck, Juninho, all the way! A beauty!
The Continentals may grab the headlines, but they know of the less glamorous backing they get from players who are happy to play a vital supporting role.
I have to change my role a little bit. I usually like to try and get forward, but with Emerson and Juninho and Higgy if he plays, or Stampy, I have to sit back. I'm the one who sits. So they want me to try and win the ball and give it people like Juninho who can do the damage.
Of course, it's not just a lack imported to change the course of Teesside's football history. The Danish member of Boro's strike force has every reason to treasure this cup run. It got him started. Hereford in the pouring rain. Not exactly the place you'd expect to begin an international career. 7 up from the first leg, the pressure was hardly on. But Mikkel Beck scored on his Boro debut, and that makes Hereford special. Beck's first home game was also in the Coca-Cola against Huddersfield. The Yorkshiremen were soon a beaten side, but the new boy still took his chance to score on his home debut. But it was Mikkel's next cup goal that really made him Boro's Great Dane.
Juninho's got a yard or two. There is Juninho to Ravanelli, to Beck. Great goal for Boro. It's Mikkel Beck. It's 2-1.
The emotions up here in North East are incredible. I mean, before I joined this, I wasn't aware of the fact that it was that intense now, but having been here now for about 8 months, I really know it now. And that day was something special. We beat Newcastle for the first time in and you know, suddenly the Middlesbrough fans and the people living here had something to be proud of, and so it was a really good day.
After Beck's crucial goal, there was Ravanelli to make his regular appearance on the cup score sheet.
Here's Juninho. Still with the little Brazilian. Into the middle. It's all over now. And it's Fabrizio Ravanelli. It's 3-1. It's good night, Newcastle.
Even Ravanelli's extravagant celebrations weren't the overwhelming images of that memorable night for Boro. It was the sight of Juninho tormenting Newcastle's defence.
It just where everything seemed to go his way, where he you know, and he played a great match.
It's been quite a journey for the foreigner with the impressive English. Denmark to Germany, Hereford, Teesside, next stop Wembley. He knew where he was heading.
The reason why I joined Middlesbrough was because I wanted to win something with the club, achieve something. You know. I hope one day when I sit back and I look back on my career, I hope I have something I can look at and say, you know, I won this, or, you know, we did this. So Wembley will be maybe the first chance for me to win something in my career.
We've been concentrating on the foreign influence so far, but now let's get a definitely English perspective, Scouse in fact, because we've been finding out the inside story on the Boro dressing room from that shy, retiring chap, Craig Hignett. So what about the stars from overseas? Over here, a few home truths now from Higgy.
Undecided what to say about Fabrizio, because 1 minute he's supposedly slagging the club and the next minute he's loving the club. But I mean, he's assured us that what he said was taken out of context and the papers have blew it up. I think sometimes he's a bit too emotional, you know, sometimes if he doesn't get the ball he starts having a go. But I mean, that's something he's got to come to terms with in the English game, you know. But it's a different culture over here. We just call him Rav until we can think of something nastier to say about him. He's just a little bundle of energy. I'd say the last 10 or 12 games he's been absolutely out of this world. On a run like he's on. A few jokers in the dressing room, and Michel's not one of them. He's very, very serious. He is a good lad. I mean, his English is unbelievable. Strongest player in the Football League. He is absolutely fearless as well. He'll fly into anything.
How long does he take on his hair?
I sit about 5 places away from him, and when he dries it, I can tell you there's no one else within about 20 foot of him, because he shakes it and there's water everywhere. He takes I'd say he takes 10 minutes with his hair, that's it.
See, no matter where you come from, you still get stick. Let's turn to our two guests here. I mean, Bernie, it's hard to get away from it. The foreigners really have been the stars of this cup run, haven't they?
A major boost to Middlesbrough Football Club. Rav, massive reputation, goal-scoring reputation. He scored 26 goals, 8 of them in the Coca-Cola Cup. So he's played a major part. Juninho, the last month, I don't believe there's a better player in Britain, if not the world. Emerson, he's one of the best midfielders. If he's got his head on, there's nobody better. And Beck, I think he's a good front man, leads the line well, good first touch, scores goals, played a major part.
Let's go back to Juninho, David, because he's been the real star of the show recently. Is he as good a player as you've ever seen in a Boro shirt, do you think?
Well, he's certainly going along that way, isn't he? I mean, it's very early yet because he's only been here for a short period of time, comparing him with a lot of other players that have worn Middlesbrough shirts. But I mean, he's been outstanding. If you give him time and space, he loves running with the ball. He's got great balance, good vision, lays balls off, continues running. And as you say, in the last few weeks, he's been outstanding. A lot of room here. If you give him room, he'll slaughter you. But he plays a great give and go there, doesn't stop, has a good awareness, good control, plays it in again, keeps going, plays it in again, still going, and doesn't get on the... He's got such a good, intelligent brain that he can play, there's no doubt about that. Again, we see it here, give and go, and to be fair to Beck, that's a good layoff and a great finish, just lifts it over the goalkeeper. Controlled, clinical finish.
Do you think then, Bernie, is he going to be the big match winner?
Yeah, I watched the game down at Filbert Street, and he 10 out of 10 that game. He could have scored 8 goals. He got the 1, but he could have scored 8. But I think they'll man mark him. I don't think he'll have the freedom they got in Filbert Street.
We'll see. More in a moment. Well, the recent history of Middlesbrough has been the most amazing roller coaster ride. Signing the Ravanellis and Juninhos of this world represents the high spots, but certainly suffered the lows. So too have a couple of the players. Loyal servants, a trip to Wembley is absolutely tailor-made.
Right, that's a 42.
A few years ago, you wouldn't have bet your shirt on Boro getting to a cup final. But this week, the shirts were arriving by the boxload, measured for their Wembley suits. Some of them still remember the days before Brian Robson, when the Twin Towers seemed a very long way off.
3 years ago, before the manager came here, playing in front of 6,000 people at Ayrsham, and you know, you don't exactly know where you're going. You don't know whether you're going to be here or not. But it's changed, and I'm part of it, and it looks like we're going to get bigger, and hopefully better things are to come. You know, if you win this cup, we're in Europe next year, and it's something I wouldn't have thought of.
I think the closest was about 5 years ago. We in the semi-final. No, it's great, isn't it? As long as, you know, fingers crossed, I'm hopefully going to be fit for the game. But that's the main concern at the moment. But if I am, and I am selected, then it'll be superb.
The boys have got to look the part. It is Wembley in the Coca-Cola Cup final after all. The tailors have done their job. Now it's up to Brian Robson and the players. Can they get the measure of Leicester, or will they be stitched up on the big day?
Hard. That's probably one word you describe Curtis. I mean, he'd tackle brick walls for you. He's the same in training as well, so you know what to expect. I always tend to drift over to the other side when Curtis is playing. Another Mr. Sensible. He's Mr. Organised as well. He potters about. I'd say he was a jack of all trades, master of none, including the football, Rob, all right?
Thanks, Higgy. Well, the lads will certainly look the part on the big day, as we've seen. But it's time for a sharp exit now. Join us after the break as we continue to follow Borough's Wembley way.
It's not easy starting up a business. There's a lot of work to do behind the scenes, getting everything ready. But the hard work pays off when it's successfully launched. At Blackpool, our business is about making sure other people can live and work in excellent surroundings. We have everything from starter units to greenfield sites. Your business is our business, and we are open for business.
A key season price means a really low price on the products you want now.
Mowers, wallpaper,
fencing panels, peat-free compost.
Low prices on top brands.
Black & Dagger, Cuprinol. The list goes on and on.
How low?
Find the product locally cheaper. We'll and that's a promise.
double the difference.
Key season prices at B&Q.
You can't argue with that, can you? New season products.
Key season prices. You can do it when you B&Q it.
Welcome back. We're on our way to Wembley with Middlesbrough, and 30-odd thousand Teessiders will also head south this weekend. As they walk along Wembley Way, they'll be able to pick up one of their favourite magazines.
Welcome to the nerve centre of Fly Me to the Moon. Issue 180 will be something special. A record number, almost 5,000 are being produced. It'll be absolutely free as Boro fans look forward to the big occasion.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Been there when we've had small crowds in the rain, freezing to death. The pies have been poor, and now we've got to Wembley and in the sunshine, good pies. Yeah, excellent.
And it's a special edition because usually you just do them for home matches, don't you?
Yeah, it's the first away match we've ever done in the history of Fly Me to the Moon. Momentous occasion.
Of course, the arrival of Middlesbrough's Continental All-Stars has been like manna from heaven for the writers and cartoonists at FM TTM, especially a certain Italian with the surname Festa.
Absolute dream, yeah. Yeah, his special Adams family links. Obviously, he wasn't aware of it himself. After the match, he said, it's okay if the fans like doing that. He was a bit worried because we actually thought he looked like Uncle Festa.
Like Boro's supporters, the fanzine has seen all the ups and downs in its 10 years, and this season has been another roller coaster ride.
It's been a ridiculous season, but in the good times when we've seen Juninho and Emerson and Ravanelli all hitting the highs together. And Craig Hignett and people like Clayton Blackmore and Robbie Mustoe also playing really well. We've seen football that we've never seen before. It's already the best season I've ever known, and if we stay in the Premier League, then it's the best season in the club's history, surely.
Well, if you are going to make history, you need to perform on the big stage. And twice on the way to Wembley, Middlesbrough have done that in real style. We've already remembered how Newcastle came up against Boro at their best. Next, it was Liverpool's turn. It's probably fair to say that of the last 8, Liverpool were favourites for the Coca-Cola. After all, like the original winners Aston Villa, they'd lifted the League Cup a record 5 times.
Once we'd knocked Newcastle out, the next draw we couldn't believe we'd Liverpool. And I think if you knock teams of that calibre out the cup, you've always got a great chance of going on to win the thing, or getting into the final at least.
But Brian Robson's side won the tie in the first half hour, kick-started by a Scouser. Careless work again by Liverpool, determined work again by Hignett, and he scored! Craig Hignett gives Middlesbrough the lead.
It's probably been my dream to score against Liverpool. And to manage it in such a big game as that was fantastic.
Fox is up there, trying to provide a target. It's 2! It's Vickers! It was another example of being up for the cup, while league points continue to be frittered away.
There's certain games that we've been lackadaisical in the league. You know, we haven't committed ourselves like we should have. Yet in the cup, you know, every game we've been up for, and we've got the rewards now. You know, with the Wembley final, and like I say, we're turning the corner in the league, and hopefully we can maintain that.
Derek's the joker. If anything's going to be said that's witty, Derek will say it. He's, you know, he's kind of a typical jock, if you like. He's always on the edge of things and waiting to slaughter someone. Steve's Mr. Sensible, Mr. Bland. Yeah, he'll slaughter me now for saying that. But he's really solid, Steve. He's a real nice lad.
Well done again, thanks a lot. But that Liverpool game sums it all up, doesn't it, David? Brilliant in the Cup, just can't make it all the same time in the league. Can you put your finger on why?
Well, not exactly, but I think the problems they've had is that they've conceded bad goals in the league, and probably they haven't had a good disposition of goals throughout the team. They've relied on 1 or 2 players, and I think they haven't defended particularly well in games. And at the end of the day, defending starts from your front players and works back over. It's not just down to defenders. And as a team, they haven't really defended strongly enough.
Do you think that, Bernie, that the Cup final, if they can win it, can then spark off the rest of the season? The Premiership, the FA Cup will all fall into place?
Yeah, I'm sure it can. It'll be a major boost if we win the Cup. But over the last month, we've picked up in the league. We're doing a lot better. The return of Nigel Pearson, he's been outstanding, great leader. Festa, the goalkeeper, Swatzer. So we've really tightened up the defence.
So the whole story of Borough's season has been about the great Cup performances and the terrible league form. Take the first 8 games of the new year. Boro won all 4 Cup ties, but just 1 of their Premiership matches. When the tide started to turn, it did seem to coincide with the return of their captain.
Lifting a trophy is one of the perks of the job, and Nigel Pearson is the skipper in every sense. He's already got the feel of this Cup with Sheffield Wednesday in 1991. Brian Robson knows that. He was on the losing side.
Nigel, I think, is an underestimated player. You know, he's a powerful lad and he's good in the air. But not just that, he leads by example, and he organises people around him, and he gives them confidence.
When the first leg of the semi-final at Stockport was rained off, it gave Pearson an extra week of training before starting his first match in 4 months. There was plenty of work for the defence to do at Edgeley Park before the lads up front took their chances.
The flag has stayed down, it's still with Beck, and it's a goal for Middlesbrough. There's another chance for Middlesbrough. Ravanelli! Ravanelli!
A fine debut from new keeper Mark Schwarzer had also helped bring much stability to Borough's defence. But it was in the second leg that the big Aussie really made his presence felt. His crucial save when County had already pulled a goal back confirmed instant hero status.
Mark Schwarzer, he's not been in English football very long at all, perhaps about five months, and the progression he's made is phenomenal, really. And he just takes it all in his stride.
My number one goal was just to get into the Premier League and establish myself, and so far things are looking really good. Obviously the added bonus of being part of a team that can be part of the, make history and win a Coca-Cola Cup final is amazing as well. It's a tremendous bonus.
The third change in Boro's defensive influence reflects the less flamboyant but equally respected side of Italian football. Gianluca Festa gives very little away.
Gianluca is a natural defender. I mean, he's really aggressive, he's very quick. So he's settled down quicker than I could possibly have imagined. And he has done an outstanding job for us. He's a big lad. He's a big lad. They called him Arnold Schwarzenegger the first time he came to the club. All the fans were, so we're trying to get that name to stick, but it might not. Biggest pest in the world. If anything's going to go wrong in the dressing room, Nigel's the man who'll do it. He's got a strange mix between being the father figure of the team, where everyone goes to him if they've got a problem, to being the biggest kid in the team, where you just don't want to sit next to him in training. He's picked up English really well, and he's a bit of a joker. He's probably got the best physique I've ever seen on a football in my life. He's really fit lad. I think he's a black belt at karate as well, so no one messes with him.
I bet. Still more home truths from Higgy to come, but now let's turn our attention to Borough's opponents on Sunday. In rounds 2 and 3, Leicester City ended the hopes of our Yorkshire teams, Scarborough and York. The Minstermen, of course, had beaten Everton. Martin O'Neill's underrated side went on to knock out Manchester United, then Ipswich, and finally outgunned Wimbledon in the semi. David, this will be Leicester's 5th Wembley final in 6 seasons. I mean, they got through in the playoff final thanks to Steve Claridge, who's had a great season.
Well, he's technically a good player. He gets a good body shape here, and even though he doesn't get a clean strike on it, I mean, it goes as straight as an arrow. But he is a gifted player. He's very underrated. He looks untidy and ungainly and clumsy at times, but he's got a good touch, and he holds the ball up well, and he's a good experienced player.
Emil Heskey, another danger man, as United found out.
Well, an instinctive finish there. The ball drops, and he doesn't have more than one touch, just volleys it back into the goal. Ball knocked across, it bounces. If he takes a touch, he probably loses the chance there.
This is the semi-final, Burnley, when they beat Wimbledon. That was a real shock, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great ball in, and it was a great header by Grayson. Yeah, it was just a battle. It wasn't a glamorous game, but it was a great performance by Leicester.
They're going to battle, aren't they? That's for certain, because Martin O'Neill will have them wound right up.
Yeah, he'll have them wound right up, and when you look at Casey Keller, he did an outstanding game there, and he's as good as anybody on his game.
Yes, they're certainly going to give Boro a major game, that's for certain. And Sunday will be a variation on a theme for the men in charge of the two teams. Wembley is a second home for Brian Robson, but not as a manager. And Leicester's Martin O'Neill was a teammate of Viv Anderson when Forest won this trophy in 1978. But it's a different world when you have to sit nervously on the bench and just watch.
The playing is the most enjoyable part, but in saying that, when my team plays really well and they have a very good result, and they've played, exciting football, I feel really happy then as well.
Boro's most exciting player at the moment is surely Juninho. Just 3 weeks ago in the Premiership, the Brazilian destroyed Leicester.
He is playing brilliantly, Juninho, there's no doubt about it, probably playing the best football of his career, and he was simply sensational here a few weeks ago. It would be foolish not to give him some sort of respect, which we do anyway. But then you're turning around, you think, well, they've got Ravanelli, they've got Emerson, they've got a couple of homegrown players who are playing brilliantly at this minute. Big goalkeeper's quite useful as well too. So all in all, they're a talented team. It's a mystery to us all that they were actually struggling.
And of course, you've been there with Martin O'Neill as well.
Yes, I used to do his running, remember? So. Yes, I've been there with Martin as well, so we've had some good times, yeah. I just hope the ratio, we come out on top.
I used to say to Viv, and I actually genuinely believe this, I made him an international player because I played in front of him all the time. I used to get the challenges in with the left wingers. I'd pick myself up, dust myself off, and Viv would be scampering down the field with Cloughie roaring, "Aye, son, you get up and join him," you know. So I used to make the initial challenge. Anderson was away, got all the glory, and I said, "Hey, listen, Viv, I've made you an international player." He said, "Well, whatever you're doing, you keep doing it," you know.
the history of this club, you know, over 100 years without winning a major tournament. That's really disappointing for the fans, and I think you can tell by the reaction of the fans now that they're so close, and we don't want to disappoint them.
Now, our man on the inside doesn't know the meaning of fear. So, even before the Wembley team is announced, here's Higgy with the truth about the management.
Bib's got the best job in football. He just comes out and trains, doesn't get involved in the coaching side until a match day when he'll have his say. But he just plays. He's just a player he's lost it now, like. He's still the Robbo of old, you know. He'll still get his foot in and he tackles. He does it fearless, and he still runs up and down a lot for an old man.
He's brave. He is brave. Well, Boro are the bookies' favourites to lift the cup. They're 11-8 to win in 90 minutes and odds-on 8-11 to win in extra time or on penalties. But in terms of betting, their fans are really sticking their necks out.
It's a racing certainty that the townsfolk of Middlesbrough anticipate only one result at Wembley on Sunday. But when it comes to betting, not only are they banking on a Boro win, they're even pushing their luck.
Most people who bet are looking for small stake, big returns. Probably the most popular one will be where customers predict the outcome of the match in the correct score and also the first player to score with that. And it's not that difficult really to predict somebody, say, like Ravanelli to score the first goal, but he's only 5-1. But if you couple that with a correct score, customers would have a minimum of 28-1 return. Juninho to score the first goal, who's always popular, and Middlesbrough to win 2-1 is 35-1.
By the way, there's a little local derby going on at St James's Park tomorrow. I'm saying that because I'm in Boro land at the moment, and Ladbrokes are giving a special bet. If you fancy Sunderland to turn over the Magpies, and Boro to win in 90 minutes on Sunday, you can have 10-1 your money. I'm not going to say you're going to collect, but it's value.
I'll never get any money out of these lads' pockets. But, David, let's talk now about team decisions that Brian's got to make. Always difficult in a cup final. But what's his thinking going to be, do you think?
Well, I think if everybody's fit, probably his biggest decision will be who plays fullbacks. He's got 3 players for 2 positions, and it may be unfortunate that Clayton Blackburn might be the player that misses out, which will be unfortunate because he's been playing very well.
I think we're assuming as well that Robbie Mustoe will definitely play. But the big thing, Bernie, is, are the Boro going to win?
Yeah, I'm confident. I think it'll be 2-1. I have to say that. No, I think if they turn it on, it depends how they cope with Juninho. They may man-mark Juninho. That may leave room for Hignett to get in, to get a goal. But, yeah, I think we'll win.
Maybe the rest of the country's saying Boro-Leicester, not a big glamour final, but it could still be a cracking game, can't it?
I've seen a few so-called glamorous finals. The Man United versus Liverpool's actually travelled to that, and it was a very, very poor game. So I think it'll be an entertaining game.
Now, I know you live on Teesside. David is a Teessider. The whole of Teesside is absolutely desperate for this one.
Well, I think they're desperate to win it now. I mean, I think they've got over the euphoria of actually getting there. I'm sure that the important thing now is that they want to go on and win it. I mean, they've done brilliant to get there. There's no doubt about that. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have envisaged it ever happening, but they've got there. Now, really, they need to take it another step further and go on and win it.
And you know, Bernie, it's typical Boro, up, down, up, down. Is this going to be the big up?
Yeah, they'll not have a better chance than this. You know, Leicester City in a major final, semi-final against Chesterfield, they'll not have a better chance of winning the cup.
The lads are confident, I can tell you. Well, hopefully in the last half hour we've given you a good idea of how Boro arrived at Wembley Way. And thanks to that nice Craig Hignett, we've also got a feel for the lads who aim to bring the cup back to Teesside. But there is one player we haven't heard about yet.
Quiet lad. Probably all-round nice bloke of the club. You'll have to ask someone else about me. I just think I'm me. I just sit in the corner and slag people.
Craig Hignett, he's not really a jack of any trade at all.
He's a ginger scouser, isn't he?
Fancy himself as a bit of a singer, actually. He's always singing in the shower. And to be fair, it's cruel.
He's a typical Scouser. You can't believe a word he says.
He says of you. A few people at our club have a sense of humour, and Mickle's not necessarily one of them.
I think that's because he doesn't know me that well yet. No.
The man with the cotton haircut.
He's a bit of a wannabe, really, and he loves Take That and was in mourning for ages when they split up. So he's a bit of a girl's blouse, really.
Thanks very much, Robbie. Well, don't say we haven't done our bit for dressing room morale, but the Boro lads are in their hotel, so maybe they won't see that till they get back. Finally, we have to thank our two professional Boro fans here. David Mills and Bernie Slaven will be kicking every ball on Sunday as well. And don't forget, you can see the highlights of the biggest day in Boro's history on Sunday night. That's at 11 o'clock here on ITV. And of course, all we've got to say is the best of luck to the Boro. It's about time we had a major trophy in the region. You can do it, lads. We're all behind you. Good night.